Hello, everybody. I hope everybody's having a good week. Good day and a good week thus far. Well, of course, we're gonna give people a chance to get in here. And I don't know, Chris put this in last night, thinking that this was the stream or not, but I see that Chris made a comment here. We're watching from living room, gentlemen. All right, so um, hope everybody's doing well. Courageous and caring, faithful and friendly, with stories to share. All through the forest they sing out in chorus, marching along as their song fills the air. Gummy bears bouncing here and there and everywhere. Find adventure that's beyond compare. They are the gummy bears. They are the gummy bears. Life is like a hurricane here in Duckburg. Race cars, lasers, aeroplanes. It's a duck blur. Might solve a mystery or rewrite history. DuckTales, woo. I've been waiting, you've been waiting. DuckTales, woo. But a stranger out to find you. When you grab onto some ducktail, woo, they'll be waiting, I'll be waiting, ducktail, woo. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. Oh, hello, we have a second person here. Hello, if you can like and share the stream, so we can get some more people in here, that'd be appreciated. I do thank you for that. Thank you for the like and share. So now that we do have two people in here, Um, we're coming up on 3 minutes. I hope you're having a good week and doing well thus far. Guess maybe I'll go ahead and start talking about what's on tap for tonight then, since we have other people here. So we got 4 articles to go over, plus of course the wrestling roundup and the niche history. All 4 articles, you got 2 comic related, to anime related. We'll also be talking a little bit about Jeff Hardy and his most recent situation when we get to the wrestling news. Let's see. On the comic side of it, the 2 stories, Tom Taylor claims that John Kent being an empathic young bi guy is far more heroic than somebody punching a supervillain in the face. Oh, goody. Yeah. Doesn't that just scream somebody who probably gets punched in the face a lot because he's a bad guy? And also, have another DC related article is Cole Main says upcoming introduction of her transgender Arrowverse hero Dreamer is needed to quote unquote give queer children a superhero who will fight for them. Yeah, definite indoctrination going on in both cases. We also, on the anime side of it, we have some One Piece and Made in Abyss news that we'll be getting to as well. And of course, we have 3 people. Thank you. And if you haven't already, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more people in here. That'd be very helpful. Hey, Solid. I've lost interest in Yellow Flash content. Does it have anything to do with the fact that he might be focusing too much, maybe a little too much on mainstream media for your taste there, Solid? I know you were coming on last night saying you felt like you were getting attacked by a couple of the guys on Tug Stream too. But could that be due in part to? Hey Shadowhawk. Hey Mike, what's up? Not much. We're about to get going on the news stories here, Shadowhawk. I'm just welcoming Solid back here. Just answering something he said there. Let's see now. And I do thank you guys for the likes and shares. Yes, and it's lifestyle choices. Yes, and his lifestyle choice. Okay. Not exactly sure what that means. If that just simply means that you're just not too keen on him drinking, but. Okay, Shadowhawk, what exactly is that emoji you got there that you put next to Solid? Seeing on the Shadowhawk, I'm seeing on the YouTube screen because it's telling me show or hide. So, and being a pot. Oh, okay. Well, I wasn't aware that he was a pothead. A rock. Okay. All right. Only because I wasn't. Maybe the computer was also seeing it differently, but it has Shadowhawk. That rock has a similar shape to another emoji that's not as um, nice, as it were. So, devil horns. All right, so let's see. So, anyways, why don't we then now get into the content here? Oh, yes, I see. So sorry, no problem. I just wanted to make sure that if I showed it, that it wasn't going to be something, y'all. Because I don't think you were trying to imply that you thought that Solid was a piece of you know what. So, and that's what it kind of, that's why I asked it what it was. So, I would hope not, anyways. But anyways, let's get to this then. Let's get into it because I did say we're going to get into the content here, and now we're at 8 minutes here. So why don't we go ahead and get started and see what's going on in the world of Nietzsche here. I'm going to start off with a story revolving around Tom Taylor here. Anyways, okay. So here we go. Superman, son of Kal-El writer Tom Taylor says John Kent being, quote, an empathic young bi guy, unquote, is far more heroic than somebody punching a supervillain in the face. Oh my goodness. This probably coming from a guy who probably has gotten punched in the face for opening his mouth like this. I'm sure he's probably walked into bars somewhere, spouted some of this garbage out, and somebody has probably been obliged to punch him in the face. Article by Spencer McCauley, published June 12th, 2022, which was, of course, Sunday. So let's go ahead and take a look at what Spencer has to say about all this. According to Superman, Son of Kal-El and Dark Knights of Steel author Tom Taylor, John Kent merely existing as, quote-unquote, a young bi guy with a penchant for pacifism is a quote-unquote far more heroic deed, quote, than somebody punching a supervillain in the face, unquote. Now, you see, this is why SJWs probably all need to be locked up in an insane asylum. Okay? They still got this, I don't know if you want to call it this naive idea that if you play nice with evil people, that they'll stop being evil. No! No, Tom! No! Tom Taylor, you're an idiot! If you think that if you play nice with evil people, they will stop being evil. You know, that very racist dictator from World War II. You think that being nice to him will stop him from being evil? You think that racist dictator from Italy, those racist dictators in Italy and Japan during World War II, you think that if you play nice with them, they'll stop being evil? This statement that he makes right here just shows how much of an idiot, how much a naive idiot he is. Okay? Merely existing as a young, empathic bi guy is far more heroic than punching a supervillain in the face. This just goes into the underlying mindset and why you probably need to round up every single SJW and lock them in an asylum. They are definitely, and that's why we have the riots on the street. That's why we're having the shootings, because of people like this. Not because there are too many guns out there. Because I think most of us here know that good guys with guns will always outdo bad guys with guns. They're the only ones that can take out bad guys with guns, or the good guys with guns. Okay, Solid, I'm going to go somewhere a little less. Oh, hell, my. I don't know what that was all about. So, retracted his own mess. I didn't really. Devil horns. Anyways. Getting back to the article here. Okay, the DC Comics author shared his opinion on the qualities of heroism during a recent interview with entertainment news outlet AIPT. Yeah, you switch the P and the I around, you got a pit. Maybe, but I think everybody knew this. I think Tom Taylor is a pitiful piece of work, isn't he? Given in promotion of his upcoming introduction of transgender verse hero Dreamer to the mainstream DC continuity and Superman Son of Kal-El number 13. Yeah, probably not good. you know, Tom Taylor's going to probably find that Zaslot's going to probably can him soon. He's trying to push as much agenda as he can before being shown the door. Asked by AIPT writer David Brooke if, quote, in hindsight, is there anything you might have changed or done differently, unquote, during his run on the series, to which his guest replied, Taylor pointed to the apparently rushed display of John and boyfriend Jay Nakamura's first kiss, asserting, quote, I'm a writer, there were things that were like, okay, this has to happen by coming out day, and I would have loved a little bit longer for John and Jay to be together before the kiss. No. Putting it in the comic was the mistake you made. Period. Pushing the agenda was a mistake. Even if you didn't rush it, it probably would not have sold. You're still not getting the point there, Tom. Quote, but having said that, the importance of that moment far outweighs slight pacing issues, unquote. Yeah, and that's his way of saying that, yeah, the agenda is more important than the story. That's basically what he's saying there. We got to push that agenda. And let's see. Hey, Tatsu. How you doing, man? We're just talking about Tom Taylor here. You haven't already, if you can like and share the stream and see if we can get some more friendly people in here, that would be nice. Hope all is well with you. Hope all is well with everybody. That being said, let's continue on with the story here, with the article here. Quote, when it makes global news and I'm watching it on SNL or whatever, yes, maybe you could have done with maybe 10 more pages, but as far as global, your writer's cap to one side, unquote. Adding to his point, Taylor stated, quote, we somehow managed to keep people engaged without actually having John punch anyone for 6 issues. I think that's really no. The book didn't sell as well as you want everybody to believe. I know Yellow Flash did actually cover that before he went, all mainstream. All right. Well. Quote, so we have a young bi guy who also is just the sweetest, most empathic, nurturing guy who doesn't want to hurt anyone. Unquote. He said, Clark didn't necessarily want to hurt anyone either. But that didn't mean that he had to, totally go all feminine to do it. There are times when, yes, you do have to punch people. Okay? I'm sorry, Tommy boy, but you're a fool. You're not going to placate evil. Okay? You're just not. You're not going to placate evil. It's this line of reasoning right here why we should round up every single SJW and lock them in an asylum. For society's sake and for their own sake. Anyways, Quote, and I think that's far more heroic than somebody punching a supervillain in the face. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah. You're not going to placate evil there, Tommy boy. You're not going to placate evil. Ah. Trying John's pacifism tying John's pacifism back to Dreamer's upcoming appearance, Taylor then noted to his co-writer on the issue, original Dreamer actress and transgender woman Nicole Maines, and we'll be reading an article. We'll be reading that article too. That'll be the next one here. Quote, I have to tell you, in issue 14, there's a moment I haven't told you yet where Dreamer is using things, and she's literally blasting people, and John's just blowing them away, and they're side by side. Anyway, I'll tell you about it later. Of course, they don't want to paint these guys as ultra violent or anything like that, because that just doesn't fit with their agenda. Doesn't really fit with their agenda. That's kind of the. Anyways, we shall now get back to the article here. However, though Taylor believes that readers truly want their main Superman title to focus on intrapersonal relationship drama of a pacifistic teenage superhero, sales numbers show this to be far from the case. And that has been far from the case from jump. Kind of these novelty issues where they may have peaked a little bit, but sales have been generally going down. I think that's been well documented. According to official sales reports from ICV2, the last issue of Superman Son of Kal-El to rank in the top 50 comics charts was at 6th in January. And now they're up to January 2022. Undoubtedly thanks to momentum from the previous issue's highly marketed reveal that John is bisexual. So basically, for the last 5 months or so, sales numbers have basically been going down to the point they haven't even made the top 50. That should tell you something there, Tommy boy. Ever since Taylor's self-lauded series has failed to place in said rankings by either units sold or dollars made. Yeah. I think most of us know that. Further, fan reception to Taylor's take on John can arguably be best summed up by Black Adam in the first issue of DC Comics' latest crossover event, Dark Crisis, as written by Joshua Williamson. Attempting to build a new Justice League in the wake of the core team's apparent, in smaller quotes, death, John approaches Adam to offer him membership, attempting to convince a skeptical Kandakian, quote, we can do this. Give people the confidence they need to feel safe again. Criticizing the roster of John's, in smaller quotes, new Justice League, Aqualad, Booster Gold, Dr. Light, Frankenstein, Harley Quinn, Killer Frost, Robin, Supergirl, and both Ted Kord and Jaime Reyes Blue Beetles, Adam eventually chastises, quote unquote, "This is no Justice League." Yeah, I'd have to agree with Black Adam there. My take on that particular statement is this: Black Adam is representing the attitude that Russia and China have towards us right now. They're laughing at the buffoonery of our leaders. They're laughing at just how corrupt the Washington establishment is. And in an ironic twist here, because I don't know if Williamson's fully on board with SJWs or not, but he more or less just summed up what's going on. Granted, we don't usually like seeing the real world reflected or being the main focus of being reflected in our comics and our entertainment. But I think Joshua Williamson here hit it right on the head. Quote, "The world needs capable protectors, not children," declares Adam. Quote, "You're trying to run before you can walk, son of Kal-El. You are not ready for this role," unquote. Well said, sir. Well said. All right, Chris. Now, again, I'm not completely sure if Josh Williamson is what do you make of Taylor's take on John Kent's heroism? Let us know your thoughts on social media. Well, I've basically said my thoughts on his take. I think he's a very naive SJW who needs to be locked in an asylum somewhere. You know, not for both society's sake and his own. That's my take on it. Yeah. Hey, Mike, some light to criticism. Give that chair some oil and the camera farther up. Well, the camera is in the computer itself, Tatsu, for one thing. Also, the chair can't. I don't really have the oil, and not really much I can do about it. Sorry if the chair seems to be too much of a distraction, but you know, yeah, the camera is basically in the computer, so there's not much I can do with that. So you do you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, anyways, but I do appreciate the thought, the thought behind the criticism. So, I know you're trying to be of help, so that's fine. Out of all of them, she's the last one to turn 21. Anyways, moving on to the next article, which ironically, as we was kind of touched upon in the last article here too, these two articles here are somewhat interconnected here. So let's move on to the next article here. Nicole Maines says upcoming introduction of her transgender Arrowverse hero Dreamer in DC Comics canon is needed, quote, to give queer children a superhero who will fight for them, unquote. So once again, we have somebody who is sitting there saying, saying that they'd be willing to risk losing money to push an agenda. You know, they want to indoctrinate your kids into their lifestyle. Parents are not having it. And anyways, article by Spencer McCauley published. So these two articles were published the same day. They were both published Sunday. So let's take a look at this. Ahead of her Arrowverse characters' upcoming proper introduction to the mainline DC Comics canon, Supergirl actress Nicole Maines says that the transgender hero Dreamer is needed more than ever right now in order to give queer children, in quotes here, a superhero who will fight for them, unquote. Yeah, basically, we need to indoctrinate your kids because we know better than you parents. That's what she's saying. Introduced in the season premiere of Supergirl's, and from what I understand, Supergirl's, her ratings, that show's ratings has been kind of falling a little bit too. Probably due a lot to the fact that they're like really trying to push these agendas. Introduced in the season premiere of Supergirl's fourth season, American Allen, Dreamer, otherwise known as Nia, or American Alien, Dreamer, otherwise known as Nia Null, is a hybrid human Naltorian whose unique biology, like fellow species representatives and Legion of Superheroes members Dream Girl and White Witch, bestows upon her a number of abilities, most notably to dream the future. This ability, normally exclusive to Naltorian women, bestowed to only one individual per generation, is granted to Nia, despite her being born a biological male. A discrepancy which is ultimately never explained by the time of the series conclusion. Mm-hmm. Well, because they can't explain it. The reason they can't explain it is because they don't want to try to explain it because that's not the point. The point is they want to push their agenda. That's the point. That was the plan. Critical. Oh, okay. Yes, the whole Dreamer arc on Supergirl was. Hey, RJ, thanks for popping in, my friend. And I know I sent you this little message on your stream as well. I saw that you did try to call me on Facebook earlier. I wasn't on at the time, but I'll call you after the show here to find out what's going on. Yes, the whole Dreamer arc on Supergirl was super cringe. And then your super sticker came in right as the stream ended. Thank you so much. Neonal is supposed to be an ancestor of Neuronal, aka Dream Girl. No explanation as to how that's supposed to happen now. That was the plan. Yeah, well, again, the reason they're not explaining because they don't want to explain it because that's to them is a very minute point. The point is that this is we need to push transgenderism. That's the point. Let's see, making a brief cameo appearance in the Comic Kanan Super Pride story. Oh God. Featured in the publisher's recent DC Pride 2022 special, Dreamer is set to make her full DC Comics canon debut. A previous story featuring the character written by the actress for the DC Pride 2021 special being set in the Arrowverse canon. In the upcoming Superman Son of Kal-El Volume 1, Number 13, as written by series scribe Tom Taylor and co-written by Maines herself. And, of course, we were just talking about that. Because we just covered that article just before this, right before this one. So, where I basically was pointing out that Tom Taylor, once again, by opening his mouth, proves why we need to just round up SJWs and lock them in an asylum for both their own sake and for society's sake. In promotion of Dreamer's impending arrival, Maines, alongside Taylor, gave an interview to entertainment news outlet AIPT, during which she argued as to why the character's continued media presence was much needed in today's social and political climate. One of the other things I think too, especially from what we were hearing from James Lee on Critical Blast open mic night too, I bet you with Zaslav really looking to really cut a lot of the fat, people like Tom Taylor are rushing these stories even more. They want to push as much of the agenda as they can before they get canned. Asked by AIPT writer David Brooke, quote, what made now the right time for Dreamer to come in, unquote. Maines explained, quote, I think it's important for a Dreamer to be in the DCU now because she's needed now. Likewise, in the comic, she's showing up because she is urgently needed, but likewise, it's the same thing beyond the fourth wall, unquote. Translation, push agenda, screw the parents, push agenda. That's the message there. Quote, we are seeing an unprecedented level of anti-LGBTQ, but specifically anti-trans legislation here in the States and everywhere, of course, unquote. Said the actress, quote, specifically transgender or targeted at queer children. No, not targeted at queer children. Targeted at you from trying to indoctrinate children into becoming queer. Parents don't agree with you, so let's see now. I see there's some more comments here. All right, I don't know what those emojis are, Chris. I guess they're eyeballs. All right, let's see now. Okay, see, let me just get caught up on these. So we see the eyeballs here. What does Chris hear? Yo, Chris Owe. What does Chris hear? Indeed. Okay, don't really understand what you guys are saying. That just found some old comics on the street market in the mood for nerd talk. Well, thank you for popping in. We're glad to have you, and of course, feel free to comment, guys. Too. I mean, if anything here strikes your fancy, feel free to get in on the conversation too. Don't cut the fat; it's attached to the rest of me. Googly eyes looking to the left. Yeah. All right. I think I get that now. And I thank you guys for the likes and shares. Anyways, let's continue on with the article here. Let's see. As I was saying, It's not specifically targeted at queer children. It's targeted at queer adults who are trying to indoctrinate children into their lifestyle, in particular against their parents' wishes. So, to be able to give those children a superhero who is powerful and smart, and important and beautiful and trans is invaluable at this point. Unquote. Quote, knowing what I went through growing up, I could not imagine doing that and then doing it while the state governments are just, said Maines, before Brooke cut in with the appraisal, quote unquote, disgusting. Uh, nope. Quote, like they're in a competition for who can come up with the craziest bill targeting at children, agreed Maines. No, it's not targeting children, it's targeting adults who are targeting kids, targeting children. Quote, it feels the least that can be done is, at least we can give these kids a superhero who will fight for them, unquote. Opining that he felt Dreamer's appearance run in with John Kent, quote, could be another important moment. Um, no, it's not an important moment. It's them trying to push an agenda as hard as they can before they get canned. Before Zaslav, says enough of this, because he's trimming the fat. He's cutting it, because he knows that this stuff isn't going to sell. He also knows that if they continue to push this garbage, parents are going to really go off on him, and we're going to probably have something very similar to what happened back in the 30s and back in the 40s, late 40s, early 50s, with the whole CCA coming down. In regards to representation, Brooke next inquired if the two were quote going for that or trying to hit those beats like that, unquote. To which Taylor began, quote, actually, I would say not really, unquote, without a hint of irony and somehow failing to realize that the very interview he was giving was doing exactly what he claimed to be trying to avoid. The Superman Son of Kal-El writer then declared, quote, one of the things that Nicole and I talked about was how important it was for Dreamer to just show up and be a superhero. I guess not to make a statement beyond here I am and here I am to save the. Again, they both need to be locked up in an asylum. Not a hint of irony. Yeah, you're right there, Spencer. Not a hint of irony at all. Not a hint of self-awareness either. Let's see. Talk about Chris's new old comics. Yeah, I let RJ do that stuff. I just try to keep people, I do focus more on like vintage comics on Fridays, but if Chris would like to mention what they've got in the chat, they're more than welcome to. Um, so. I got some Nexus, Dreadster, Airboy, Bloodred. The only one I've kind of heard of is Airboy. There, sounds pretty cool. There, And it went back down to... Anyways. All right, getting back to the article here. Let me just double check. Oh, already up to 45 minutes there, so and we had quite a bit of commentary here. Let's see. Agreeing with her co-writer, Maines affirmed, quote, "Yeah, it's difficult writing queer heroes because you want to simultaneously do their identities and their struggles and their lives justice while at the same time you're not trying to make them a caricature of themselves, or you're trying to put it in a place where it doesn't make sense." Unquote. No, I would say that's exactly what you guys are trying to do. I think what you guys are truly trying to do, what your true intent is to push an agenda. You don't even care if you make money off, as long as you can get your message out there. That's all you seem to care about, Mr. Taylor and Miss Maines. And the sales numbers and ratings numbers even show that it's not, people aren't buying it. Quote, "While we were talking about this, she's coming with this grim world-ending news, and we're trying to figure out, where in here does it make sense for her to come out to them, to talk to them, and share her identity with them," unquote. She continued, and, quote, "and it's like, I think after the world is saved, I think you have something more important to talk about. Yeah, the bathroom is a bit of a contentious point for me, but we'll talk about that after we save everybody." Unquote. Yeah, just trying to push agendas here. That's all they're trying to do here. Later asked by Brooke if she felt, quote, "like you can kind of put yourself into this character, like your own identity into it, to make it real and alive," unquote, Maines further asserted, quote, "That's kind of what I've realized with a lot of what I'm writing is a lot of it is coming from my personal experience," unquote. Quote, "And a lot of it is just becoming sort of commentary on things I've gone through in my life," unquote. She elaborated, quote, "You write what you know. That was the same playing Dreamer. It was always, how do I bring it back to what I've been through? How do I liken her experience to my own?" Unquote. Quote, "Obviously, I'm not fighting evil super-powered villains," unquote, the actress said. Quote, "But I fought the state, I guess. Writing it has been very interesting. I'm definitely feeling the pressure. Definitely feeling the pressure of bringing this character to life because I never claimed to be a writer, or I never claimed to say I love to write comics," unquote. Which I'm guessing is all. Some people might even argue that's the understatement of the year. She doesn't love to write comics. She doesn't care if she makes money on comics, just as long as she can push her message out there, right? That seems to be the whole gist of it. Let's see. Yes, while you're telling people the world is ending, where where is the appropriate time to interject your pronouns? Right on there, Art. Nice at Chris. Uh, how do I make this about me? Exactly, RJ. RJ, you hit it right on the head there. Hit it right on the head. You really pounded that nail in there, my friend. Oh. Anyway, let's continue on with the let's go on to Maines went on to elaborate, quote, so now here I am. And I'm like, in smaller quote, am I doing this right? Unsmaller quote, especially with the graphic novel. In brackets, I believe I am doing with Rye Hickman. I'm writing a story that I like, and I'm praying those people like it as well. Probably going to crash and burn. I'm not going to sell all that much. Okay, what exactly is going on there? Because the way they're posed, there you almost it almost looks like they're tied up for some reason, and they've got their shoulders all scrunched up like that and all that, like in some kind of tight fit or something like that. Anyways, quote, I love this character, she told Brooke. Quote, I love what she can do. I think she's the best. I'm sure I've ruffled a lot of feathers, but I will unapologetically continue to say I think she's just the most powerful character in the universe. I adore her, and getting to write these stories for her has been so much fun. And that's all I'm really going off of. I just want to see her do cool bleep. Unquote. Including with a bit of wishful thinking, Maines added, quote, it's really cool to be a superhero fan right now. Ms. Marvel was created in 2013. Dreamers is relatively new too, and yet they're hitting the scene and people want these characters. No, they don't. Not as many as you might think. No. A lot of fans do not want these characters, actually. I'm like looking at the Ms. Marvel show, and I'm like, in small quote, golly, someone should do that with Dreamers, unquote. And watch it tank. Superman Son of Kal-El is set to hit shelves on July 12th, 2022. What do you make of Maine's insight into Dreamers' upcoming transition from the Arrowverse to Earth Zero? Oh, Earth Zero. That's exactly where the SJWs belong. SJW and their worldview. Earth Zero. Perfect place for them. Let us know your thoughts on social media or in the comments down below. There we go with that one. So that's the end of the comic articles. Let's see. RJ gets a star from Tatsu. Yep. Let's see. Dreamer on the TV show could do quote unquote anything because they didn't have to explain it. They took a character who could dream glimpses of the future and made her into an astral projector, a teleporter, someone who could hit you with bolts of quote unquote dream energy. Sounds kind of like Psychic Blast from Charles Xavier there, RJ. Literally anything, and just chalk it up to in small quote new use of dream energy. Worst character ever. Just stop watching this garbage. Or, well, the thing is, as somebody who probably commentates on it, Tatsu, RJ kind of needs to watch at least some of it, or at least be aware of what's going on, so he can comment on it. That's kind of the thing there. Uh, Anyways, and I'm thankful for all the likes and shares. Of course, if you haven't liked and shared yet, please do. Let's see. They canceled it, but I had to review the DVD releases. Yeah, yeah. See, basically what I told you there, Tatsu. I do hope everybody's enjoying the content thus far. Anyways, let's get on to some anime news here. I'm in a little more now. This Vinland, I'll save that for tomorrow because that just popped up today. So I'll save that for tomorrow's content. Where we at 56 minutes, so we're almost at the hour mark here. Anyway, so let's see what else is coming up here. All right, so here we go. One Piece film Red Anime debuts new trailer, theme song, Uda Project, and poster by Eiichiro Oda. Article by Nerdigans Inc., published back on June 9th, 2022, which was last Thursday. The upcoming One Piece film, Red, has received a bevy of new media ahead of upcoming release, including a trailer, information on the mysterious Uda Project, and a new key visual drawn by series creator Eiichiro Oda. Its deluge of updates regarding One Piece film Red was revealed to fans during a June 8th live stream event dedicated to the upcoming film. Hosted by Fuji TV anchor Ryusei Yakuta, alongside. Oh yeah, I probably already may have covered this story already, but I'll go ahead and continue to cover it here. Anyways, I may have already done it though, just didn't realize it. Anyways, continuing on here. Let's see. Featuring appearances from Luffy voice actress Mayumi Tanaka, Usopp voice actor Kappei Yamaguchi, Japanese comedian Yusuke Inoue, and actress Rina Asakawa. The stream opened with the announcement of the official casting decision for Gordon, an original character conceived by Oda for the film, as was subsequently tweeted out by the official One Piece Twitter account. The Frankenstein's monster-looking character who, quote, holds the key to the story, unquote, will be voiced by Kinjiro Suda, overall in My Hero Academia. This news was followed by a subsequent casting announcement in which it was revealed that Shank's supposed daughter and the film's central character, Uta, will have her speaking voice provided by Kaori Nazuka, with her singing pipes provided by Japanese singer Ado. These casting announcements were then followed up by the premiere of a new trailer to the film. As the trailer opens, Luffy is shown reuniting with Uda for the first time in 12 years. Based on her reaction, she's both excited and shocked to see him after such a long period of time. Looking like a card-carrying member of the Kiss Army and waving an Uta sign, Usopp is then seen demanding Luffy tell him how he knows Uta. Chopper, adorned with glow sticks, and Uda Pins likewise demands that his captain reveal his secret. The reason Luffy responds is simple. He knows her because she's Shank's daughter. For those of you who aren't as aware, Shank is the red-headed pirate that inspired Luffy to become a pirate himself. So, his answer is then followed by a shot of Shank's, though given his character's mysterious nature, it's more likely than not that he won't be in much of the movie. Next, a trailer announces that the film's theme song, New Genesis, will be provided by the aforementioned Otto. Not only that, but in a particularly cool detail, it looks like Uda will also perform the song within the film itself. Keeping the spotlight on Uda, the trailer cuts to provide some insight into her character, with the pop star princess narrating, as long as I sing, everyone will be peaceful and happy. Unfortunately for her, seems a band of pirates has other plans for her, and rather than peace and love, they've come bearing war and chaos. Let's see what we have here. One Piece had transrepresentation in the early 2000s in German. He is called Rufy the Monkey, alright? In the German version. Chopper would be a good name for a gender transition search. Oh boy, hey Woody. Nice one. Sure, that would get you a lull point back out there. Anyways, we continue on here. Alright. The trailer then presents a quick montage of shots centered on the Straw Hats themselves, among which can be seen the first appearance of quote unquote Sunny-kun, an apparent transformation of the Straw Hat ship, the Thousand Sunny, the ship that Frankie made for him. A scene of young Uta and Luffy meeting and playing near Shank's ship, though unfortunately without any sign of Garp, Ace, Sabo, or even Shanks. Straw Hat indicating that this moment took place before Luffy ate the gum gum fruit. Let's see. Yeah, and just so you know, Woody Chopper is the reindeer doctor of their ship. Zoro wielding his swords, one of which is purple-hilted, Enma, he recently acquired in Wano. His wielding of which places the film sometime during or after the recently wrapped story arc. Sanji rushing towards the camera, ready to unleash an Ifrit Jambe, the move he learned in Wano after accepting the Gurma part of his bloodline during his fight against Queen. Nami utilizing the former cloud of Big Mom, Zeus, in another sign that the film likely takes place after Wano. And the strongest indicator that the Straw Hats meeting Uda takes place after Wano, crew's latest member Jinbai himself. Finally, the trailer ends with a furious Luffy launching himself as a dragon riding Uda, ostensibly in an attempt to break through to his friend before she uses her beastly companion to unleash destruction. Let's see that. That kind of help things much. Anyways, yeah, for whatever reason, it would seem that the comments on that that YouTube's not keeping up on the comments in the YouTube portion of it. Oh, there's only one missing. That's Woody's latest comment. Okay. Anyways, as we continue on here, following the trailer, the special presentation revealed the names of the 7 artists whose songs will be featured in the movie. Per a tweet by the official One Piece account, these artists will include Yasutaka Nakata, Mrs. Green Apple, Vondi, Fake Type, Hiroyuki Sawano, Yuta Orisaka, and Motohiro Sata. I guess here are some of the artists that they're talking about here. Further, the live stream provided details on the previously teased Uda project, revealing that the project will involve the production of several music videos starring Uda, each of which will be produced by different creators. Alongside these music videos, the project will produce a short episode of a new mini anime called Uda's Diary to accompany each music video. Finally, the film revealed its new key visual, drawn by Oda himself. This latest visual sees a crying Uda superimposed over an image of Shanks and Luffy. One Piece film Red is currently set to hit Japanese theaters on August 6th. What do you make of the latest trailer for the next One Piece film? Let us know your thoughts on social media or in the comments down below. All right, so there's that one, and then we got one more article to go through, and then start getting the wrestling news here. Let me see. All right. All right. I want to check something real quick before I continue on with this story here. Anyways, okay. Anyways, let's get to this next article. Glad to see everybody's still here. This will be the last article we'll go through, and then we'll get into some wrestling news. New Made in Abyss, the Golden City of the Scorching Sun trailer reveals Ganja Core official premiere date. Article by Nerdigans published this past Friday. The upcoming second season of Made in Abyss, the Golden City of the Scorching Sun, translated as Retsuhi no Kagane no Sato, has received its third and final trailer as well as the official premiere date. Released to the series' official website on June 3rd, the latest trailer for the animated adaptation of Akihito Sakushi's dark fantasy adventure manga provides fans with a further glimpse into the anime's upcoming take on the series' sixth major storyline, the E-Blue arc. Whereas the Golden City of the Scorching Sun's second trailer introduced Reg, Rico, and Nanachi's journey into the sixth layer when it debuted last month, this latest preview centers on the Ganja Suicide Corps and their journey to the eponymous Golden City. Adapts parts of chapters 48 through 50 from the original manga. The trailer opens on the three core members who will eventually come to be known as the Three Sages: Wakuzan, Bilaf, and Vuko. A group of outcasts who were abandoned by their peoples and their homelands. The Ganja Corps can be seen undertaking their perilous journey to what they believe is their salvation, suffering the loss of all their ships and a steep climb in order to find the city at the root of the abyss. After talking with some of the natives, looking down the pit, Bilaf remarks to Wakuzan, the Golden City. The natives call it Shoro, the capital of the unturned. Quote, they added that though the Golden City does exist, you can never return from there, unquote. He continues as the group finally comes upon the actual city itself. The trailer then turns to reveal the interference units, visitors to the Golden City whose objectives are to learn about humanity through the observing, touching, gather, and searching of their subjects. So basically, what they're saying is these robots are coming to probe the explorers there. Present. Ah. All right. Anyways. In a perfect foreshadowing of the pending ruin the interference units eventually bring to humanity, Vuko asserts, quote, we don't know at the time people cannot leave this place, or we didn't know at the time people cannot leave this place in the form of humans, unquote. Cutting away from the alien beings, the trailer then presents Irumyui, the infertile daughter of the tribal chief, whose people live inside the rim of the abyss, hiding behind Vuko. Fearing her infertility to be a curse, Irumyui was tragically sent away as tribute to the Ganja Corps. However, she ultimately becomes their guide, a position she finds herself in when she warns them of the curse of the sixth layer. This moment is followed by a brief montage emphasizing the mother-daughter bond formed between Vuko and Irumui during their journey, which itself becomes a significant element of the entire Ibulu arc. Next, as warned by Irumui, the Ganja Corps is seen suffering the effects of the sixth layer, which first strikes the victims with a fever for slowly transforming them into human monsters. Without a cure, Vyoko can only offer them mock water as a gesture of comfort amid their suffering. Turning to discuss their dire situation and take advantage of Buko's bond with Rumui in order to utilize the wish-granting Cradle of Greed, Wakuzen asserts, quote, there isn't much time left. I'm counting on you, Buko, unquote. As later explained by the interferences, if the egg-shaped cradle is touched directly, the user gets sucked in and their wishes torn apart. Further, adults can't grant wishes on the egg because they are too messy and complex. But juveniles can use it because the fear a hatchling feels is much closer to a primordial and pure emotion. Primordial, pure emotion. Because the Ganja core have lost everything, and her being able to use the cradle of greed is their last hope. Rakuten then refers to Iruyumi as their savior. Oh, that's kind of that's kind of a heavy tag to place on a kid, on a young woman. Yeah, you're a savior now. That's quite a burden there, to say the least. Um, in the final, extremely significant shot of the trailer, the camera zooms in on the cradle of greed or cradle of desire, depending on the translation you're familiar with, as Vuko asks, quote, what has this child's wish come to, unquote. Though no hints are given as to what's inside the egg, based on the manga, it's likely to be either the babies that Irumuri is about to give birth to, or what will ultimately be the Ibulu village. Following one last hint at Ryukazin's eventual revelation to Vuko, the trailer ends on the reveal that the Golden City of the Scorching Sun will premiere in Japan on July 6th. Are you excited for the second season of Made in Abyss? Let us know your thoughts in the comments and social media down below. Sounds like a very interesting. I don't know if we'll get to see it in the States here, though. Don't know if they'll dub it and put it on. They'll probably end up putting it on Netflix because that's where it seems where everything's going now. Toonami seems to be dying out. So anyway, so that's all the main articles we have for tonight. But we have some other news, some wrestling news we'll probably be getting into soon here. So let me start going about that. First some WWE news. So in regards to WWE, of course, they're preparing for their next pay-per-view, Money in the Bank. I haven't seen any information on any matches that are signed yet, but from the looks of it, there are a few things they're pushing. They're pushing Seth Rollins as a maniacal heel. There's even been some talk, though, that they're talking about possibly taking the title off of Roman Reigns, as he is not going to be active in the WWF for most of the summer. He's only scheduled to be on one show. Nobody still knows why he's even why he has all this time off now. But that's one of the things going on. Another thing that seems to be going on is WWE seems to be hinting at putting Alexa Bliss and Liv Morgan together as a tag team for the women's division. Seem to have great work, and these two have had tremendous experience as tag wrestlers with other partners. Now I guess just seems natural for WWE want to put them together. Also, they've been playing up Becky Lynch's frustrations at not being able to get the women's title by having her scoff the 24/7 title, which, as some commentators noted, the 24/7 title in the the current 24/7 title seems to be just as comical as the whole 24/7 idea was back when they used it for the hardcore title. So that seems to be going on. So, and in some other news, of course, Stephanie McMahon, as I told you guys, probably told you last week, Stephanie McMahon has apparently stepped away and stepped down from her position to spend more time with her family. Nick Khan is sitting there, taking over many of her roles in the company. let's see. So that's about all the WWE news I have for you. So AEW. Now we'll go on to the AEW news here. Still don't know if any. AEW, there's a lot of news. Of course, there's some news in regards to tomorrow night's Dynamite episode. There's a couple big matches there. Um, all right, so yeah, so there were a couple. So as you guys know, last week, as I mentioned last week, AEW introduced a new title, the All Atlantic title. Um, the finals of that tournament will be held at Forbidden Door, the AEW New Japan co-produced event that comes up on the 26th of this month. Thus far, advancing to the finals, of course, Pac, as the finals will be a fatal four-way match to determine who the who the um, who the first AEW All Atlantic Heavyweight Champion will be. As Pac, representing England, defeated Buddy Matthews, representing Australia, and last week's show. Tomorrow night's show will have Ethan Page, representing Canada and and America's Top Team / Men of the Year, taking on Miro, representing Bulgaria. Um, the winner of that match will advance to the Fatal 4-Way. Also, tomorrow night will be a hair versus hair match between Chris Jericho and Ortiz, as things have been heating up between the Jericho Appreciation Society and former members of his former faction, the Inner Circle, and Eddie Kingston as well. Santana and Ortiz. But after, like last week, when Ortiz jumped Jericho and cut a portion of his hair. Now, of course, this is all part to help Eddie Kingston get what he wants, which is next Wednesday, Blood and Guts episode of Impact. He gets Chris Jericho and Blood and Guts. But Jericho wanted a hair versus hair match against Ortiz for tomorrow night, which will be going down tomorrow night. And in other AEW news, some bad publicity news for them, as Jeff Hardy was arrested this past Sunday on DUI charges. Now, Jeff's alcohol and drug history has been pretty well documented. Supposedly, he had a blood alcohol level that was almost basically 4 times the legal limit. In Florida, the legal limit is 0.08, and the two blood alcohol tests he took had him at 0.294 and 0.291 respectively, which again just goes more towards the idea of that's almost like 4 times the legal limit. And he was charged with it. Now, a lot of people are saying that what could be happening here is with this arrest, he could actually end up going to jail, because there's a certain law. This happened in Florida. There are certain laws in Florida in which, like, 3 DUI, if you get your 3rd DUI charge, it's considered a misdemeanor, which does require jail time. I don't know. I think it's a felony. It might be because felony. But he's going. And now there's been a lot of talk by commentators suggesting that Jeff should either consider retiring or altering his style, or maybe even just stepping. Obviously this relapse, because apparently he had been he had been okay for a while there, but apparently there was some stuff that happened at on a couple weeks ago. As everybody knows, he was involved in a couple of really violent ladder matches recently that may have done even more hurt to his body. But a lot of people are suggesting that he either may need to retire or at least alter his ring style if he wants to keep going. Because at 44, he can't be taking a lot of these huge bumps that he used to take when he was back in his, doing all those swantons onto people and off ladders and onto ladders and through tables. That does take a lot of wear and tear on the body. And so there's been talk. There are some people who are hoping that maybe with this arrest it might be a silver lining in this dark cloud, as it may force Jeff to take some time off to take care of himself, to get whatever demons he has out of him and get back to a healthier place. Now, granted, I don't know if, again, as to whether or not he comes back to wrestling or even if he, if he does step away and he comes back, there have been many people out there who suggest that he may need to change his wrestling style a bit. Not be the daredevil he's always been. Maybe take more of a grounded approach. And there have been many pro wrestlers over the years whose careers have lasted longer because they've done that, because they've altered their wrestling style. Now, there are some guys who've gone above and beyond, what they should do. Now, Terry Funk, he still wrestled up until a few years ago. I think Jimmy Valiant did as well. Of course, as these guys got older, they would change their styles a little bit too. Well, actually, if anything, though, problem with Terry Funk up until he retired, he actually became more hardcore and took more bumps in his older age than he did when he was younger. He's more of a technical guy when he was younger. Very true. A lot of wrestlers keep going because if they stop, their bodies break down. Well, I know there's also been a lot of talk about, as we were talking about the Jeff Hardy situation here too. On another note, Ric Flair is preparing for his quote-unquote last match. There are a lot of people saying that he shouldn't be doing. So I guess a group associated with the former Jim Crockett Promotions will be hosting the event in Nashville at the Nashville Fairgrounds in July, the end of July 31st, in which Ric Flair plans on having his last match. But there are a lot of people concerned because Flair is 73 years old. Now, granted, I commented earlier this year, a couple months back, where there was a 72-year-old still wrestling and looked pretty good, Action Mike Jackson. And from all I could tell, actually looked in great shape for a 72-year-old. In Flair's case, that's not necessarily the case. Flair, even though he's 73, he's got a pacemaker in his heart, in his chest. He has cardiovascular issues. He's been training for a comeback for one last match. I know a lot of people talked about that. Him involved in a match with like the Rock and Roll Express. Ricky Morton, of course, is still somewhat active with the NWA right now, acting more as a manager / coach to his son Kerry. Not wrestling as much, but still, wrestling. But this match with Flair, has him and both members of the Rock and Roll Express involved. There was some talk. Hogan, he was trying to get Steamboat involved. And even Jerry Briscoe came out. Jerry Briscoe came out and said that he was very concerned for Flair, considering the fact that he's got a pacemaker in his chest. And he's looking to, and of course, Briscoe is worried that if Flair has a good match and feels good after the match, he might try to continue to wrestling, even though he's got he's got some major health issues there. It's always the last match. Yeah, yeah. It's all. Yeah, that's you're right there, Toys. You know, you always have that situation where it seems like always their last match until their next last match. No, this is going to be my last match. No, this is going to be my last match. I got a pacemaker in my chest, even though like 3/4 of the bones in my body are not where they were when I started in this business. Even though this business took 2 inches off of my height. um, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the thing there. But anyways, so getting ready to move on from that. We also have, of course, some Impact news. Before let me go back to AEW real quick. The other match that has already been signed for Forbidden Door from the United Center, the pay per view being co-produced by New Japan and AEW, is for the interim AEW World Title between number one contender Jon Moxley and Hiroshi Tanahashi. Now, the reason this is for the interim world titles, many of you know, CM Punk broke his foot when he won the AEW World Title match against Adam Page. And even though he volunteered to relinquish the title, Tony Khan said, no, you're not relinquishing the title. Give me a quick sec. I got to just make some lighting adjustments here. I'll be right. I'm going to go off camera here. I'm going to go ahead and put some music on. I step away for just a moment to take care of the lighting situation in here. All right, I'm back now. Anyway, so yeah, Hiroshi Tanahashi taking on Jon Moxley for the interim. I was pointing out CM Punk broke his foot, but Tony Khan said, no, you're not relinquishing the title. No circumstances are you. And as somebody who's a bit of more of a traditional wrestling fan, there's a lot of things I've started to see with AEW of late that I'm just not overly thrilled about. Everything from obviously adopting certain ideological beliefs to to what they're how in some ways they do seem to be almost spitting in the face of um, of traditions of pro wrestling and how things go. But that's another story for another day. Anyways, with that, let's move on to some other wrestling news. Impact Wrestling. This Sunday, they're celebrating 20 years with Slammiversary. This Sunday, the 19th, Impact Wrestling is having their Slammiversary pay-per-view, celebrating 20 years in the company. And I believe there are like 5, maybe 6 matches that are signed. You just go check that. I do know that the Impact World Title will be on the line, as Josh Alexander will be defending the title against Eric Young, who won the shot at during a won the shot during a gauntlet for the gold match on Impact Wrestling. On All right. So aside from that, what I just told you, um, there's going to be for the knockout, and I explained this already too. For the knockouts title, they're going to have the first ever Queen of the Mountain match. Now, the Queen of the Mountain match is obviously the female version of the King of the Mountain match that they introduced back in the early days of Impact Wrestling. The concept is it's kind of a reverse ladder match. Now, traditionally, a ladder match is you hang a prize up over the ring, you grab the ladder, you go up that ladder, you grab the person to get whatever that prize is, whether that's a title, belt, a briefcase, filled with a contract, money, some other form of property, what have you. A traditional ladder match is go get up the ladder, grab whatever the prize is. The person who grabs the prize is the winner. In the cases of the King and Queen of the Mountain match, the object is not to take something down from on high; it's to put something up on high. So it's basically to get up the ladder and put, whether that be the title belt or whatever else, up, on a hook above the ring. Person who hooks the belt to that ring is the new champion. Now, how you get to the point to where you qualify to get to try to go hang the belt is during the match, and it's a 5-way match here, so 5 individuals are involved. So when you pin somebody, you qualify to be able to go grab the belt, and try to hang it up. What happens is when you pin one of your opponents, the opponent has to go into a penalty box for a certain amount of time, which means you have less people to contend with. And once you pin somebody, you have the right to go try to hang the belt up. So that's the general idea of the King/Queen of the Queen of the Mountain match is basically the female version of the King of the Mountain match that the men participate in for years on Impact. And participating in that title match are current champion Tasha Steelz, along with Jordan Grace, Chelsea Green, Diana Peraza, who was a double champion who was doing that whole champ challenge, and Mia Yim. Now, all 5 Touch Steelz, of course, is the current Knockouts champion. All the other 4 contenders had to be, according to Gail Kim, who is in charge of the women's division, is that in order to participate in the match, you have to be a former Knockouts champion. So with that, we have some other quick matches to talk a little bit about. As it were. One of the other matches, of course, that one of the other matches is for the Impact X Division title, Ultimate X match. For those of you who don't know what the Ultimate X match is, they basically hang an X over the ring. It's kind of it's not quite like a ladder match, as it were. It's kind of similar premise. What you have to do is they hang a prize on two cables that intersect each other like an X at its center point. They hang it at the center point, and so whoever reaches the prize, in this case, it's the X Division title. Um, Instead of going and using a ladder to get it, you have to kind of go on these cables. You got two cables there that make an X, and then they hang a prize up, and that's the basic concept of an Ultimate X. The participants in this Ultimate X, and it's fully booked now because they were having contender matches leading up into this. These are the participants in the Impact X Division titles Ultimate X match for Slammiversary this Sunday. Champion Ace Austin. You also have Speedball Mike Bailey, Jack Evans, Kenny King, Trey Miguel, and Alex Zane. Those 6 individuals will be involved in the Ultimate X match for the X Division title. The Impact World Tag Team titles will be on the line as the champions, the Briscoe brothers, will be taking on the Good Brothers. So the Briscoes, Jay and Mark Briscoe, will be taking on the Good Brothers of Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows. And then in a 10-man tag team match, you have the members of Honor No More, which are Eddie Edwards, the OGK of Mike Bennett and Matt Taven, PCO Pierre Qual Roulette or Perfect Creation 1, and Vincent taking on, and no, not Mike Jones, Vincent from WCW or Virgil. Some of you know this is a different Vincent altogether. Taking on the tag team of the Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, Frankie Kazarian, and two mystery partners. Now the two mystery partners have to have been at some point involved with TNA at some point in their career. They can be a current member of TNA or somebody who's been with them in the past. So as this is Slammiversary, the 20-year anniversary of the show. And now I guess I should turn on the light here. So I'm gonna go one more time here to step away from the computer. Mike starts too early for Leto. Oh, let's see. I'm guessing Leto doesn't show up around here much anymore. Mike starts too, yeah. Well, that's one of the things, but I also think there's something else involved too, because, but yeah, that's one of the main reasons right there. Solid is because I now start at 6 Pacific, 9 Eastern, which would be 8 Central. So that's why he hasn't been around much of late. But then he hasn't been streaming much of late either. So, anyways, I'm gonna step away from the computer one more time here, get a little more light in here. I'll be right back. I'll leave you guys music. Be right back. Anyways, all right. So, I assume with COVID being over, his work, I mean, well, it's not just that. So even while COVID was still quite a bit, apparently he got a promotion at work too, which has led to him working actually more now because he got, according to what he told us, Leto got promoted. So that's also a contributing factor. I wish he was back here because he was one of the guys that's pretty loyal. He'd be here almost all the time. But anyways, getting back to the wrestling news here. As I was saying, tag, and then in the Monsters Ball match, you have Tammy Callahan versus Moose, most recent, the guy that Josh Alexander just defeated to become the reigning Impact World Champion. Now, I do have some NWA news to pass on as well as this last Saturday was always ready to review they had. Also jury duty. There were actually three title changes. One of them happened due in part due to an injury. So, right, so as I said, there were three title changes that happened on the night. The main event at Always Ready this past Saturday was a fatal four way for the NWA World Title between Nick Aldis, um, Tom Latimer, Trevor Murdoch, and Sam Shaw, the returning Sam Shaw, who was known as Dexter Loomis on WWE's NXT. Now, going into the night, though, originally it was supposed to be Matt Cardona defending the NWA World Title against Nick Aldis one-on-one. But recently, Cardona had suffered a torn bicep and was forced to vacate the title at the beginning of the night. Therefore, as medical staff would not clear him to wrestle, um, so they had to put a fatal four way into effect there. You had Sam Shaw coming back to NWA after, like, from what I understand, 4 years. Nick Aldis was already in the match. They put Trevor Murdoch in, who had won his match earlier in the night against Aaron Stevens, who y'all would remember as Damon Sandow in the WWE, in what was apparently his swan song. Now, Trevor Murdoch, this was also an ode. He was still owed his contractual rematch after he lost the title to Cardona, and he finally got it. And Trevor Murdoch won this match and became the new NWA World Champion. Tom Latimer had also wrestled that night, wrestling Scion and defeating him, and was also put into this match. The other, of course, the other titles that changed hands. The Commonwealth connection of Harry Smith, the son of Davey Boy Smith, and Doug Williams defeated former NWA World Champions La Rebellion to become the new NWA World Champions. And in a match for the NWA Women's World Tag Team Championship, the Hex, Allison Kay, and Marty Bell were defeated by Pretty Empowered, the team of Ella Envy and Kenzie Page. Homicide defended the World Junior Heavyweight title twice, retained both times, first defeating PJ Hawks and then beating Colby Carino, the son of Steve Carino, former NWA World Champion Steve Carino. Camille retained the women's title. Jax Dane retained the national title over former champ Chris Adonis. I see Leto on Rikita's stream, but since it goes by so fast, I don't bother trying to talk. Yeah. All right. So, yeah. As mentioned earlier, of course, Tom Latimer defeated Cyan earlier. Tyrus retained the television title over Mims, and Taya Valkyrie lost her NWA debut to Natalia Markovich. So that's pretty much all the wrestling news I have for you guys. So, and we're already at an hour 55, so it's probably a good time to start winding things down a bit. I hope y'all enjoyed the content. Before we leave, of course, going to do our going to go ahead and do our This Day in Each history. But today being Tuesday, Tuesday, June 14th, 2022, and take a look back at this day in Nietzsche history. Without any further ado, why don't we go ahead and get started with that. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look back to is we're going to go back 30 years ago today. On this date, 30 years ago today, Scott D'Amore made his professional debut on this date in 1992, 30 years ago today. Now, Scott D'Amore nowadays is known more for his role as Executive Vice President of Total Nonstop Action. Basically one of the guys in charge of Impact Wrestling right now. But on this date back in 1992, he made his debut in Amherstburg, Ontario, which he defeated Otis Apollo after having trained with Doug Chevalier in 1991 at the age of 16. So Scott, on this date in 1992, 30 years ago today, at the age of 17, Scott D'Amore made his professional wrestling debut. So currently, of course, he is currently executive vice president and main booker for Impact Wrestling on Access TV. So there you go. And he's been a promoter for years. He started up. He had wrestled and eventually became one of the key head figures in Border City Wrestling back in the 90s and then again in the 2000s. So with that, let's move on to the next piece in each history. Okay, so on this date in 2006, 16 years ago today, the 30th and final issue of 4. Now this title went through a number of different name changes. It's known primarily as Marvel Knights. It's on the Marvel Knights imprint for Marvel Comics. This title was called 4, the 30th issue of 4, but it went through a number of different. It started out for a couple issues as Knights 4, then became Marvel Knights 4 for the majority of its run, and then it simply became 4 spelled out, the word 4 spelled out, F-O-U-R, and then for this last issue, just the number 4. The title of the story was Open House, featuring, of course, the Fantastic Four of the time, written by Roberto Aguirre Sacasa, with penciling done by Clay Mann. Jonathan Sabal did the inking. Joe Carmagna did the lettering, and Dan Kemp did the coloring. So on this date, the 30th and final issue of 4, basically the Marvel Knights series, went on sale on this date back in 2002. Not 2000, I'm sorry, 2006. Moving on to the next piece of Nietzsche history. On this date in 2007, Madhouse's Devil May Cry premiered in Japan, the Devil May Cry animated series, produced by Madhouse, debuted on Wow Wow Network over in Japan. So, on this date in 2007, 15 years ago today, the Devil May Cry animated series from Madhouse Studios debuted on Wow Wow over in Japan. So now we have one more piece of each history, and then we'll wrap things up here. As on this date 5 years ago today, at the since I can find it here, at the Annecy International Animated Film Festival, Despicable Me 3 debuted at the Annecy International Animated Film Festival on this date 5 years ago today, back in 2017. So back on this date 5 years ago today, Despicable Me 3 debuted at Annecy International Animated Film Festival. So that's all that I got for you guys tonight. I hope you all enjoyed the content. You guys had a good talk. Don't forget, Friday is our weekly look back at comics history, in which Matt Goat and I will be looking back. This week we'll be covering comics that went on sale from Centaur Comics in February of 1939. Be reading some selections from Amazing Mystery Funnies primarily, number 6, or number 7 rather. And don't forget to come back tomorrow and Thursday to catch more niche news and commentary. So with that, guys, I thank you all for being here. I hope to see you back here tomorrow. And I shall say bye.